Hey everybody. So I've missed doing some of these full game breakdowns, and I thought that this incredible game against Fury and Revolution in the finals of the Club World Championships would have tons of awesome Frisbee to break down. So let's get into this game. I've watched this game a few times now, so I thought I'd just share some of my key thoughts and things that I noticed throughout the game. In the beginning of this game, the first thing I noticed was how on defense, Revolution was poaching the middle of the field and forcing their opponent's Fury to swing the disc and play more to the sidelines. They're constantly playing defense with their heads on a swivel and trying to disrupt the throwing lanes. And in this example, you can see Manu doing exactly this. But Fury does a great job of countering once Manu isn't able to make a play. Right here, the player Manu is guarding is in a non-threatening position. So Manu takes his opportunity to creep into the middle of the field and look to take away open looks downfield to the middle. And from this angle at least, it looks like Manu could have possibly pulled the trigger if she had noticed the throw going up a little bit earlier, but the throw was to the perfect space for it to remain a completion. And after this throw goes up, the player Manu was guarding does a really great job of attacking upfield and running away from her poach. Finney looks up and sees the open receiver and puts a perfect cross-field throw to the end zone for a score. So right away you can see that this kind of defense can be pretty high variance. It can work well in taking away open looks, but if the offense can identify these poaches and attack the proper space, the strategy can lead to some pretty easy scores as well. And like any great team, Fury also uses poaches when they see a good opportunity to do so. Here you can see two Revo players cutting into the same space. Kayla Helton is guarding the player that eventually stops their cut, but Kayla reads the thrower's eyes and tries to get her poaching run through D. And similar to Manu, the throw is just out of reach and Kayla's player is left open downfield. Once Kayla misses this, Levka is the offensive player standing in the deep space where an open Revo player is cutting into. I would have liked to see Levka attack the underspace here to create more offensive leverage. But by standing in the deep space and not attacking, it allows Levka's defender to absorb the player running into the deep space. And they're able to get the D and prevent the score in the end zone. The way Revo plays their fast-paced offense is obviously incredibly fun to watch. They're clearly coached to move off of their throws. If you watch this point, you can take a look at the throwers every time that they release the disc. Every time they throw, they attack upfield. This is constantly causing the defense to think about switches, and Revo is always dictating the pace of play. Also, no team is better at attacking open space with their legs than Revo. Watch them break this zone and get off to the races. In 5 seconds, they complete 5 throws, gain 20 yards, and switch the field. And here's another great example of Revo playing defense with their heads up. As soon as Valeria's person begins to clear to a more non-threatening area of the field, she realizes that she is in the most likely area of the field for the offense to attack for a goal. So she looks around and sees an open offensive player cutting to the cone and is able to disrupt the pass for the clutch D. This game has a lot of these sorts of plays.
So Uribe getting a bit too much on the mark there. A high disc into the end zone. It's taken away by the Valeria Cardenas, the thief, on the goal line.
This point does a really good job of showing the different styles of play between Fury and Revo. We've already seen Revo play with multiple players behind the disc, utilizing lots of smaller passes to eventually open up something big. Fury, on the other hand, likes to play in bigger spaces, spreading out the field a bit more. You can see on this point, they attack with a big under on the far side of the field. After the defense collapses on that side, Fury swings the disc back to the middle. Instead of staying back in the handler space, you can see that Finney, who was the player who initially started the point throwing the first under, decided to continue running upfield instead of staying in the handler space. She points to the close sideline, indicating that the look should be for number 44 to come down under and complete the field switch. In 2 throws, Fury completes the textbook dump and swing, and Finney also utilizes a cut that is really difficult to guard. A deep cut starting shallow from the handler space. A perfectly placed huck lands in Finney's breadbasket and leads to the easy score. This style can be beautiful to watch when it's executed well, but as we've seen, those bigger spaces can also be easier to get poached Ds with an athletic and intelligent defense. There's a lot of people that are saying that this might be one of the best games of Ultimate ever played. With the circumstances, the highlights, and the wild finish, it's definitely hard to disagree with that. But what I enjoyed so much about this game was comparing the different styles of Ultimate and seeing how such different styles can be played at the highest levels of the game. There's a lot to learn from both of these teams and the strategies that they play with. If you haven't had the chance to watch this particular game, I would highly recommend it. As always, thanks for watching the video, and if you'd like to show a little support, liking, sharing, and subbing to the channel is definitely appreciated. And if you're feeling a little extra generous, there's a donation button at the bottom if you feel like giving an extra early Christmas present. Thanks as always, friends, and see you next video.